Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be looking at the Orléans board game, and this is a game that includes the mechanic of what we call bag building. Now, if you can remember from our Dominion video, that was deck building, where you build a deck of cards in order for you to complete actions, gain victory points, etc, etc. This one, when it first came out, actually blew my mind. It's called a bag builder. Now basically what we have is every player gets a drawstring bag, which you can't see into for obvious reasons, and you draw your workers out of the bag and place them on your actions board, which is every player receives one of these. At the start of the game, every player has the same 4 workers, as we can see here. Now as the game progresses, you put your workers out onto the different spaces in order to gain other workers, which open up more spaces, etc, etc. So at the start of the game, each player draws their 4 starting workers, and we place out our workers wherever we want them to go. Now, there are certain places you can't go at the start because you don't have knights and the grey workers and the black workers at the start of the game. So you have to work out what sort of strategy you need to do in how to place your workers. So, for example, on my turn, I may want to pick up a knight in my first go. So I place my white marker on the white space, my blue marker on the blue space, and my black worker on the black space, which leaves me just a brown worker which I can put in the village, but I can leave that there from turn to turn in order to gain one of these. So as you can see, I've put my 3 workers on here in order to gain a knight. Now there will be bags of pieces on all these spots, so there'll be a pile of knights. So I'd take a knight from here and place it in my bag, ready for next turn. Now that allows me, once you've placed a knight, you move your marker up 1 space. Now a knight allows me, instead of drawing 4 workers per turn, to draw extra workers per turn, 5, 6, 7, so on and so on. Each of these will have different workers associated with them, allowing you to do different actions. So we'll run through the actions here. If you want to gain another farmer, you'll place your workers on here to gain another farmer, which would be a blue and a brown to gain another farmer. You'd then move this up the track and you would pick one of the resources from there. If we want to gain automation, which is a special kind of worker, which is represented by these medieval technology markers, I suppose they're called, in order for you to place one of these on one of your spaces as such on your worker board. Now once you place the automated worker, it can never move. Once you've placed it on, it stays there for the rest of the game, which obviously allows you to have 1 worker covered up constantly, reduce the amount of workers needed to complete whatever task you're going for. If you want to get a grey worker, you get a grey worker, which allows you to build unique buildings. Now once you gain one of those, you can choose whichever building you want, the level 1 and level 2 buildings. Your first time going across allows you only to take from the level 1 pile, but from then on each additional one you get allows you to take from the 1 or 2. As I say, the buildings are unique, the one-offs, which only you will have access to, and they all do different actions. Level 1 and level 2, that's those. This one allows you to gain more coins per turn, which you'll have at the start of the turn. You'll have a certain amount of coins as well, which allows you to gain more money. And this one here, the grey workers are for the knowledge or something, I believe it's called. And each time you pick one of these up, you advance your marker along the scoring track. Well, it's not a scoring track, but it's a advancement track along the bottom. The only other thing that isn't on here is your monks. Now, monks are special characters. If you're to place your appropriate workers on the spaces here, you would get a monk. Now, a monk goes on a lot of the unique buildings, but a monk is also a wild, so it can go on any space. Doesn't matter what colour it is, your monk is a wild. So they're the best workers to get, really. So they go on each thing there. If you look on our personal board, obviously we've gone and got a knight from this one. If you're to put a knight and a grey work on the scriptorium, it allows you to move one across there. The town hall, again, you can put any workers here, as you can see from the any colour workers, and we go over to the beneficial deeds board, which allows you to place workers on the beneficial deeds. Now again, with these, once you place a worker, he can never come off, he stays there. And then whoever finishes whatever beneficial deed it is, whoever places the last worker, this is for everyone to use, they gain the bonus. 3 coins and a citizen tile. I'll come on to citizen tiles in a minute because they're very important in the game. So that's what that one does. Again, placing ones here gets you a monk. These here gets you the knight. Placing here gets you an extra farmer. The farmer board, at the end of each turn, whoever's furthest along the farmer track gains 1 coin, and whoever's least furthest along has to pay 1 coin. So it's always worth picking up an extra farmer or 2. And again, you go around placing your workers on the board to get whichever bonus you want. These 3 at the top are special places where we go on to this part of the main board. Now this allows you to move your trader along. As you can see, if you want to move by sea, or river actually in this case, everyone starts with the guild hall and a trader in Orleans. This represents the countryside around Orleans. Now, along with your market goods on your board here, there'll be market goods out these tiles here on the board. So let's say, for example, I wanted to move my trader down to this settlement here. I will place my 3 workers to move by road, associated with the 3 colour workers there, and I would move down this road to here, picking up the 2 market goods along the way. And if I have workers here, it allows me to place another guild hall on this space here. Now everyone starts with a guild hall in Orleans, but only one guild hall is allowed on each of the other towns in the area, and it's a way of gaining victory points the more guild halls you have on the board. So that's another way to go in playing the game. At the end of every turn, oh, and the other thing is, yeah, you place your workers here to gain the guild hall. You could also move by river, but again, slightly different combination of workers than the road. So let's say I was here and I wanted to move by river along to here. I'll pick up those two market goods on the way, and it'd allow me to go there. So that's another way to gain points in the game. Now moving on to citizen tiles. Citizen tiles are these things here. Now these are important at the end of the game scoring. These are placed, there's a spare one on here. Wherever there's a place with one of those markers, you place a citizen tile. Again, there's places on the board here. Collecting citizen tiles is another good way to win the game, and you can collect those along the way. At the end of every turn, once every player's gone, you collect back all your workers that you want to on the board. You're not forced to, you can leave them out for the second turn or progressive turns, but if you want to change up what you're going to do on the next turn, all your workers go back in your bag, ones that are on the board or ones that you have purchased this turn, and then you draw out, depending on how far you're along the track here, the amount of workers, and these would come out ready for the next turn, ready for you to place your workers out again for whatever actions you'd like to take on your next turn. At the end of every turn, there is a special event which everyone must adhere to. Again, the rulebook tells you what each one does. There's various ones, there's plagues, there's all sorts of stuff in here where you lose workers. Some of them are negative, some of them are positive, but the game always starts with the first one. At the end of every turn, you turn the next one over so you know what's coming, so you can plan for it on your next turn. The play continues like that until all the turn tiles have run out. Once all the turn tiles have run out, you then go to scoring. Each market good is worth a certain amount at the end of the game. Each coin is worth 1. And however many guild hall tiles you have on the wilderness board, you would add onto however many citizen tiles you have, which is these, which you collect by going up tracks and finishing beneficial deeds and such. And then it's multiplied by however much prestige you have. So if you look at the bottom of the board along here, if you manage to move your marker along here, so you'd get 2 prestige there, so you'd add up however many guild halls you have on the board, add that to your citizen tiles, multiplied by what your final prestige markers are, and that also gives you victory points. At the end of the game, you add up how many victory points you have, and obviously the person with the most victory points is the winner. I say the good thing about this game is you never know which sort of workers you're going to get out of your bag. So keeping a tidy bag is important. Don't have too many. Pick a strategy at the start of the game work out which workers you need to purchase for you to complete that strategy, or you can go willy-nilly and do a little bit of everything depending on how your strategy goes. So that's the base game of Orleans. It is a really good game, really simple to learn, quick to pick up. You're basically pulling workers out your bag each turn, placing them on your player board or whichever buildings you've bought, or the beneficial board, in order to build your strategy to gain points, etc, etc. Now, expansions. The game comes with 4 at the minute, and I have all 4. One of them really isn't an expansion, it's just pieces to allow you to include a 5th player, which is the black colour. You get red, blue, yellow and green in the base game. This is the 5th player expansion, black pieces and extra workers, obviously, because you've got an extra player. That's the 5th player expansion. The first expansion is Invasion. Now this comes with a series of modules which allow you to play cooperatively. Again, a few extra rules, extra buildings, extra scoring opportunities. Cards come into play for stopping the invasion. I believe actually it's the nasty British that are coming to invade, because obviously it's set in medieval Orleans in France. As we all know, the French and the British during the medieval period didn't really get on. So that's the first expansion. Allows you to do a more cooperative game, but there's also a few extra modules in here as well. That's Invasion. The second expansion is Trade and Intrigue. This one comes in sort of 2 halves. There's a trade part and an intrigue part. Now the trade part allows you to expands the game more into trading and collecting trade and market goods, and giving you a few extra options, different buildings, new cards, etc. The intrigue part turns the game into more conflict against other players. So basically the game itself is more of it's a multiplayer game, but you're more concentrating on your own things really. The only conflict comes in the base game is, say, if somebody else goes to a different area on the area map that you wanted to go to. The intrigue part messes with other players' plans, which makes the game into a more, I wouldn't say conflict, but I've sort of made a mess of your plans as we go along. Again, different modules for different parts of the game. Put some in, take some out, whatever you want to do. And the third expansion, which I haven't played yet, is the Plague. Now, I'm not too sure on how these work, but again, comes with extra building tiles, cards, and I think you've got a new beneficial deeds boards, new events, and every player gets a plague doctor as well. I think you've got to go around trying to stop the plague as you play the game. But I haven't played this expansion yet, so I can't really go into it in any great detail. As I say, I only got this a couple of weeks ago. So that's the Plague expansion for Orleans. Again, a really good game, interesting mechanics. Bag building, which again is a bit of a strange concept if you're new to the board gaming world, but give it a go. It's really fun, and lots of ways for you to plan your strategies and whichever way you want to go to try and win the game. So that's Orléans, guys. Again, still readily available. So give it a go. See what you think. And if you like it, pick up a few of the expansions. I would try and pick them all up, although the intrigue section of the second expansion, which makes the game into a more conflicty, is probably not my favourite way to play. Anyway, there we go, guys. That's Orléans, bag building in medieval France. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.